All right, welcome to another edition of the Big Blue Report featuring that guy, two-time Super Bowl champion, former defensive captain of the New York Football Giants, Giants legend, and one of the best damn owners of a food truck you could probably find today serving jerk chicken. That's right, Jonathan Casillas. The Professor Ryan Darlington, backsportspage.com, of course, Randy Zelli from backsportspage.com. Guys, Giants football, the light is at the end of the tunnel. I don't know where that tunnel is going to lead us to, whether it's the playoffs, the draft, or the JC's food truck. We just don't know. But guess what?
Listen,
there's a light. Okay.
It could be the sun. It could be a freight train. We'll see.
Or it could just be a back truck hitting you. Which could be known as the Eagles' defense. You just don't know. But but with that being said, boys, the bye week is over. The Giants, went on the bye on a good note against the New England Patriots 2 weeks ago. A lot of questions. I think the Giants are starting to have more questions than they do have answers at this point. Joe Schoen at the beginning of the bye week went to the media and said, hey, looking forward to seeing Daniel back. He didn't really emphasize whether it was going to be with the Giants or not, but he said, hey, he's looking forward to seeing him back. And there's a lot.
Right. Seriously.
Yeah, and he said he didn't want to obviously discuss contracts with upcoming free agents. JC, you've been in this league for a long time. You've had a lot of bye weeks, and you've heard of a lot of GMs sort of do the State of the Union with the media. How did Joe Schoen handle this one, knowing that it's not the same situation as it was last year?
As good as you can handle it. I think upstairs they're doing a good job in kind of weathering the storm because expectations were very high this year. I think we all got gut punched in reality that first Sunday night opening weekend against Dallas, 40-0 at home. For me, that was kind of like, all right, let me just lower my expectations a little bit because the Giants overachieved last year, that's for sure. And I think they're paying for it from, I guess, fan appreciation and even just respect throughout the league in terms of how people are covering the Giants. But for me, I turned it off. I turned off my expectations after week one. And then after that, I was like, all right, now I can see this a little bit more objectively and stop looking at it so subjectively. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it for what it is. And at the end of the day, the Giants are locked in with Daniel Jones for another year. That's objectively. That they're locked in. Unless they're going to try to move this contract, which I don't think that's going to happen. So they're locked in with Daniel Jones. And another fact, Daniel Jones may not be healthy next year. He's going, he had ACL surgery. So the possibility of him playing next year, I think, is high. The possibility of him starting the year as a starting quarterback, I think, is extremely low, given that he might not even be healthy for training camp. So those are things that Joe Schoen, Daboll, they will have to address, and it's not moving on from Daniel Jones, but it's, I think, positioning yourself. If Daniel Jones is not there as a starter on week one, you have to have a quarterback in place. I think right now, giving Tommy DeVito the nod. And the surprising thing for me, fellas, this week was he announced that Tommy DeVito was starting on Tuesday, which any other week would have been on a Monday, which is very early. Mm-hmm. And the only time he's done something like that, he never gives anybody any information, especially in regards to starting, playing, and injuries. If you guys remember, the only time he ever did it was when Daniel Jones got healthy for the first time. The first time he came back, what is this? The strained neck. When he strained his neck, the first time he came back, as soon as he got healthy, he announced him as a starter earlier in the week. And I feel like he doesn't really do that. And I think he's doing that to say, Tommy DeVito is going to be our guy this year so we can evaluate him. Maybe not the last part, but I kind of put that on there. But it's definitely to evaluate Tommy DeVito to see what the Giants have moving forward.
100%. And I mean, that's the whole question, right? What happens after this season? We know where we stand for the remainder of this season, and God help us if Tommy goes down. I'm going to knock on wood, left, right, and center, all over the place. But the question becomes at that point, depending on how Tommy does throughout the remainder of the season, and this is a supremely evaluative part of the year for him, we have to see what we've got. Going up against and winning against the Patriots, going up against and winning against the Commanders, that was great. But they're not super high caliber teams, and I don't think anybody really knows what you have until you put them through the grinder and see what happens. So now that there's a greater amount of familiarity with him and with the team overall, and he can move forward, how does he do these last 5 games, I think, is left? And that's what's going to help make your decision about whether you draft a quarterback, right? Do you actually, if you've got somebody that's competent, right, that is able to be your backup, do you need a first-round draft pick? I mean, perhaps once Daniel's gone, if Tommy's done a really good job, maybe he becomes the starter because he's already got a leg up on any undrafted or any rookie that would be coming in, right? He's already got NFL playing time, already got a training camp, already got NFL experience. So there's a lot of questions. Like you said, Randy, there are a lot of questions, but at least at this point in time, we have more options than we did, say, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And Brian, real quick, Randy, I think it'll go one of two ways. If the Giants don't win another game, because the Giants, they're playing a really good Packer team that's in the playoff hunt. Jordan Love has been playing very well. The Saints are up and down, you know, and they're going down in New Orleans. It gets ugly down there in the Superdome sometimes for New York. But if they can't figure out how to win one game, maybe one to save Tommy DeVito, maybe one, maybe two, definitely two, excuse me, if they get two down the stretch. And what that will also do, if Tommy DeVito is able to win 2 or 3 games, I don't know how, but if he's able to do that, the Giants will potentially slide out of the top 10 of the draft, right? So if if Tommy DeVito is able to win a couple games, I don't think the Giants are going to be in contention for one of those top tier quarterbacks in the draft this year. But if he doesn't do well, if he stinks it up, I don't think they're going to play Tyrod unless he really struggles. Because Tommy DeVito, he's not making mistakes, even though he's not playing at the elite level or even as a good quarterback quite yet. He's had flashes of being really good. You know, his pocket awareness needs to increase, but he can extend the pocket. Sometimes he waits a little too. You know, we could go on and on about his development, but these last 5 games is going to be basically dependent on him, on how well he does. If he can win a couple games, because if he wins a couple games, I mean, he's played probably decently well. He wouldn't have turned the ball over, and the Giants are going to slide back in the draft, and I think it's going to take away from the potential quarterbacks at the top of the draft that they're going to be going like the top 3 or 4 picks. And I don't think the Giants are going to try to move up to get one of those guys. Agreed. Probably move back, possibly, depending on where they land at, to get some more draft stock. But that's how I see it playing out. If Tommy DeVito could win a couple of games, I think he's safe because he'll be able to move the Giants back of drafting a guy. And you got a guy that won. If he wins a couple, that means he won 4 games this year. If he wins a couple, it puts him at 4, which is, I'll take a quarterback that only started 6, 7, 8 with 8 games.
And won 4 of them. Sure,
4 and 8. I'll take that. 100%. And moving forward, the question about Tyrod is, I think his health over his history of his career has so many times preventing him from being a starting quarterback. And I think this was another time Tommy DeVito, stepped up, and I think they want to evaluate him because they know who Tyrod is.
Exactly.
And as of right now, it's like, do we take Tyrod and possibly win a game? Do we take Tommy DeVito, possibly win a game? We're not going to have Tyrod next year, and we could possibly have him next year. So I think that's what the Giants are trying to figure out right now, and that's why Tommy DeVito is getting a nod. And those are the parameters that I think is going to happen.
And not only that, but from a business side too, it's a lot cheaper to have Tommy DeVito than it is Tyrod Taylor.
Of course. How much Tyrod was getting this year?
I believe it. I think it was like $3 or $4 million. And I also just want to throw one other thing too. If not that you want a scoreboard watch and hope anyone to win or lose, Patriots helped our cause this past week by beating the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. Again, if the Giants don't win another game and the Patriots win one more, the Giants are in a good position. The Giants are in a good position because the Cardinals still seem committed to Kyler Murray. Yeah. And the Panthers don't seem like they're going to take another quarterback. But they don't have that pick anyway, I think. Ryan, you're the one who told me, right? The Bears have that pick this year?
I believe that's right, because of the trade that they did previously.
Right. So now the Bears have a question of whether they want to keep Justin Fields or go a different direction. So if the Giants could get slotted in that third, fourth, or even fifth pick, then they have a lot of questions. There's a lot more questions than they have answers to.
Yep. The guy that I want them to take is going to be later in the draft anyway, right?
Right.
Well, I said it a few weeks ago. Michael Penix is the guy I'd love to see in Giants blue, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing right now too is take away from the quarterback position. You have a lot of other guys right now. Yes, the season has not gone what it's supposed to be. They're only 2 games out of the playoffs, which is even the scarier part.
That's crazy.
That's the scary part of the whole entire thing. But now you have guys who are trying to get as much film of themselves on tape in case they're not bought back, because you now have guys playing for their jobs, and that's the big thing. You look at a lot of guys who had quote unquote high expectations on them from the beginning of the season. Guys like McKinney, guys, obviously the Saquon question is going to be there, but you have other players now. Look, you have a wide receiver room that you stocked up this year. You're going to have to trim some of that down because there's a lot of money in that room.
Yep.
And that's money that money should go into the offensive line. That's where that money really has to go.
So here's the other thing that I think needs to change about the Giants organization. And I hate saying this because I have the utmost respect for Bobby Johnson and the work that he's done. But we have shown an inability to draft and progress high levels of talent, develop talent. Thank you. Develop talent along the offensive line, right? I mean, if this has just been a revolving door for years and years and years and years and years. All of the tape was there on Evan Neal. All of the tape was there on Eric Flowers, right? And he's actually playing pretty well for Miami at this point. I just have to feel like we can keep. It's almost like we keep banging our head against the wall when we draft these guys really, really high, but then we can't develop them into the players that they're supposed to be. And I wonder if part of the evaluation needs to include that line coaching staff.
Oh, I hear you. That's a good assessment. And I just don't know, because how many different regimes have been here over the last 10 years?
But Bobby's been the line coach for long time, hasn't he?
He wasn't there when I was there. So my thing is it's when you're Joe Schoen, put yourself in Joe Schoen's shoes, right? He's already done a good enough job to where, like, coming in and going to the playoffs and winning a playoff game in his first year as a GM and with Dayball, you figured out who your quarterback was, you signed your running back. Like, there is no way he didn't have confidence that he's doing the right thing. Like, he knows what he's doing. It's going to work out because it has worked out. And Andrew Thomas has been the last recent high draft pick, and when he struggled his rookie year too. So it's not, what I'm saying, like, it's not really, you can't really, I don't think as Joe Schoen, you can't really look at it and be like, oh, we got to figure something out with this O-line. If in recent memory, is like the last O-lineman that we took very high besides Neal was Andrew Thomas, and he's worked out very well.
Yeah, he did work out all right.
And it took a little bit of time. It took a little time. So you got to think that's fresh in his memory, and also the active part of, hey, we just won a playoff game last year. Something the Giants ain't done in over 10 years. So he's doing something right. So I wouldn't think that he would think that it's something that he's doing wrong or his coaching staff is doing wrong. I think it needs time. Like Evan Neal, the question about him is, he's struggling right now. The big question is, can he play right tackle? Right? That's the question. That's a huge question they're going to have to answer, because if they move him to guard, then it's a question of, can he play guard? Because if you say he can't play right tackle, it's not he's done in the league. He's not, because he's so high of a draft pick. Like some guys, they can't play tackle at the position they're in and they're done. Right? Evan Neal, if he can't play tackle, he's going to have a chance to play guard. So they have some time to figure out what they're going to do with him. The question is, I think we're all going to ask is, if the Giants don't pick a quarterback, who are they going to draft in that first round? Yeah, that's a huge question. And everybody, what I'm hearing from you guys and what everybody's basically saying is that they should go tackle or some type of lineman to strengthen the old lineman. But what you're saying is it hasn't worked out given Evan Neal. I mean, I wouldn't McKeithen. Like you could throw other guys in there, and I hear you, but you got to think Andrew Thomas is not that long ago.
No, you're not. You're right.
No.
You're right. And JMS is still developing, and there's a whole bunch of there's definitely evidence. Go ahead. Sorry.
But also goes to what I had been preaching for the last year and a half. Your goal is not 2023. Your goal is to develop that line and the growing pains that's going to come with it to have 2024, 2025. Look, Andrew Thomas's second year was not a solid year either. So again, you weren't expecting the rash of injuries. You weren't expecting to call Justin Pugh off the couch to come in and help rally the
straight off the couch.
Straight off the couch to help rally this offensive line, which since he has gotten there has looked a lot better. I want to throw a name out there.
I wouldn't say a lot, but
from where it was to where it is now, hey, we're all running in the same direction. Yay! Look, at the end of the day, we have to also remember there was a name who Giants fans ridiculed, and we're hoping a piano would fall on his head, and that's the name of Eric Flowers.
Right.
Eric Flowers is having a pretty damn good career now, and he's been down in Miami, and he's contributing heavily. Sometimes a person might just need a change of scenery and a little less reporters around them. Just throwing that out there.
No, you're absolutely right. JC's frozen. At least he's
JC's frozen. Yeah, I know. He's so happy with what we just said. You can't wipe that smile off his face.
Continually happy.
Continuously happy. That man is continuously happy.
That's right.
So,
I mean, look, I think the point is well taken. There are a number of areas of need that we absolutely know that we have. We're not entirely sure. I think it's a little bit. I mean, as much fun as the prognostication is, right? I think we're a little bit early talking about the draft here because we don't know. We don't know if we're going to need to be in the market for a quarterback. We don't know if we're going to be in the market. Well, we do know that we're going to be in the market for an interior lineman or two. But at the end of the day, how we spend our first pick, how we spend that first two, whether we trade back, whether we trade up, whether we keep it and roll with, whoever, is going to be determined by what happens the next 5 games. I think this next 5 games is an incredible opportunity for the Giants to see what they've got and try different stuff, tinker with things, right? I would love to see them move Evan Neal to guard. See how it works. See what happens, right? And if it doesn't go well, then you kick him back out. But at least you'll have some tape. At least you'll know what you're talking about.
And I think what you're saying is absolutely 100% on the money. This is the time now where you're playing with house money, but you have 5 games of evaluation. Okay. And if you happen to win a couple games and you put yourself in a situation where let's say you're able to get a win against them. I'm going to do a what if. I'm going to do a positive what if scenario and a negative positive what if scenario. And I hate what if scenarios. So this is going to be fun. Positive what if scenario. Let's say you get a win against the Packers and you go down to New Orleans and get a win against the Saints and you split with the Eagles. And all of a sudden you're and you beat the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So you win. That's 4 wins. You're now at you finish off 8-9. Okay. What? And you like, you're like, well, we had high expectations. It fell apart early, but we finished strong.
Mm-hmm.
Or the worst case scenario is, hey, we're now worst case scenario is you experiment with guys in different situations, put them out there to hope they can play, and you figure out you can do this and you can do that. I'll be 100% honest with you. I think they're probably going to get at least one more win. I think if it happens, it's going to happen against New Orleans. I think the Rams have righted their ship, so that's going to be a really tough game. Or maybe you luck out and get a win against the Eagles on the last day of the season because they're playing their cheerleaders.
But their cheerleaders are better than our starters, my guy. I mean, that's the whole. Well,
their cheerleaders look better than our starters.
Yeah,
you have to look at. That's a very fair point. But look, if you look at that and you say, hey, if you're able to somehow get 1 or 2 games, and you're able to, like we've been discussing, you're elevating Tommy DeVito, and you say, okay, this is going to be our guy. This is going to be our backup.
Fellas,
JC.
Hey,
So JC,
yo,
I want
the power went out like on the street, like PSC and G. I see him right outside.
oh boy,
they're the
Yeah,
one
they
who cut
called-
the power, right?
Yeah, they knocked on my door, I guess, earlier, and yeah, they cut the power. So I was like, "Oh man, the air cut off, the TV cut off, the camera cut off." I'm like, "Did I just blow everything?" And then I looked at my phone, and then I saw my doorbell was like 10 minutes ago. Sorry, guys.
It's all good. So one of the things I was just saying before, JC, is we're castrating Evan Neal in this situation, but there was an offensive lineman who the Giants fans loathed for years, still found a way to stay in the league, and now is having a lot of success, and that name is Eric Flowers. Eric Flowers got run out of this town,
Yeah.
and now he's in Miami contributing and having a great season. He's starting down there. So
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing about playing in New York. You don't have a lot of time here. Like the fans don't have patience for you. Geno Smith, he's revitalized his career in Seattle. He would have never did that in New York. If he played on both New York teams, he got booed for both franchises. It's crazy. And you look at him now, and he made it to the Pro Bowl last year. And he has Seattle in contention. It's very difficult to play here. That's why you got to tip your hat to Eli Manning for everything that he did for as long as he did it for. And then his successor and Daniel Jones, even him, he's been in the hot seat ever since he got before. As soon as they said his name, he was on the hot seat. At number 6 overall, Daniel Jones from Duke, that kid, and then all of a sudden he wins a playoff game. In his fifth season? Was it fifth season? Fourth season?
Fourth season.
He wins a playoff game. Hasn't been done in over 10 years for the New York Giants on Eli's watch. And you start looking like, okay, the kid can play in New York. He can be a good quarterback, because it takes a lot more than playing on field. Because if you struggle here, they will tell you about it. I've been booed plenty of times, not me personally, but the defense, the team I was playing on. And I'm talking about the New York Giants booed me. And for me, it's a rite of passage. That's what it takes.
Sure.
Here in New York, you'll have a winning season and you play poor one night against the Dallas Cowboys. They will boo you.
Yep.
That's just how it is. So the ability to play here in New York, I feel like, that's why I like Tommy DeVito so much, because he's not. I don't even think he understands the magnitude of what's on the line every time he goes out there, because he doesn't play like it. He plays like he don't give an F.
He's having fun. He's having fun.
He's playing ball. He's Brett Favre. Yeah, he's just having fun.
Plays like he don't care.
Yeah.
Like I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna sit in the pocket a little bit longer next time because I want to get that. Like, bro, he's just out there balling. Right.
And just a quick side note, when I originally heard someone that New York drafted somebody from Duke, I was very excited to see who the Knicks got. It's just very because Duke is a basketball school, so that was
true.
Yeah. So go ahead, Ryan. Please finish.
No, I was just going to say, I think you're absolutely right. So it's funny, like he does not realize the magnitude of the situation. He does not, and that's why he's being able to have some success, right? He's just Tommy Cutlets. He's playing ball. He's having his mom do his laundry and cook his dinners. It's all good. Kids making $40-something thousand a week. Just playing ball. And I kind of hope that he hangs on to that, right? Because that's going to be where his success comes from. If he gets in his own head about what's actually happening to him, it's all going to go to shit, right? But at the end of the day, if he's able to kind of keep his mentality, continue having fun, maybe win a couple of games. If Daniel's not ready for the start of the season next year, then he will have played himself into the backup role in New York.
And the other part of that, too, is you can tell his teammates love him.
Yeah, it's a spark. It's a spark that they have not had. It's been kind of dead. And this guy gives the entire fan base something to be, not, if not excited about, at least they're not pissed off about it. You know what I mean? He's winning a couple of games. I think these wins are mirages, quite frankly. I hate to be the guy that rains on the parade because they're against, really bad teams. But again, that's why I said it matters what he does against Green Bay. It matters what he does against the Rams. It matters what he does against the Saints. If he can hold his own, if he can continue to improve and hold his own, he can really do well for himself and continue this sort of upswing that he's got the Giants on.
JC, while you were, when you were off camera for a few minutes, I did the worst case and best case scenario for the rest of the year. And I'm sitting there, I said, let's say you get a couple wins here and there. You then look at it as, okay, you're now building and getting guys. You're figuring out what's going to be for you for the next couple of years. If you're losing games, you can experiment with things, moving a guy like Evan Neal to a guard position instead of a tackle position. It's such a different type of. You have so many different ways you can go these last 5 games. It's very interesting to see which way they're going to go.
Yeah, now's the time to find stuff out. Try different stuff. See what works. See what doesn't work. It's almost like a win-win in the sense that if you try something, it doesn't work, and you lose games, you get a better draft pick. If you try stuff and it does work, and you end up winning some games, then you're in a better position to potentially, and I can't believe I'm saying this, potentially make the wild card again, right? Or at least
crazy.
It's
crazy how it's still alive.
It's crazy how it's 100%. And especially when you consider the Eagles team that we're meeting at the end of the year is not going to be their starters, right? They're not going to play.
You don't know that because they just lost. They don't have that number one.
They are not the number 1 seed right now. They are not the number 1 seed.
So they're going to have to fight for it most likely. And if they lose to Dallas, they're going to be fighting for their playoff lives.
That's true. That's true. I guess I'm assuming more wins for them down over the course of the next 5 games. If I'm looking into my crystal ball, by the time
they got Dallas tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
I think that's right. That's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Yesterday, what was it? Yesterday, the day before, 2 days ago, I don't know. We're doing this Saturday.
As of this recording, they have the Cowboys tomorrow.
Right.
And I'll throw something else out there too. You look at what the 49ers have been able to do this season. Not to go too off topic, but the 49ers, not only did they beat the Eagles, but they spanked the Eagles.
You know what surprised me the most that game is that the Eagles lost to the Jets, right? Whenever that was, and they have 4 turnovers. Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions, and that was so uncharacteristic of him. And if you do that, you're going to lose to anybody. Right. They didn't turn the ball over against the 49ers.
No.
And they got the brakes beat off them. And that was the surprising thing because that means San Francisco, they're playing at a very, very high level right now. That means San Francisco is on another level, even than Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys, because they did the same thing to both of them. They beat the brakes off of both of them. So I was a little bit surprised by that, but at the same time, this the NFL. Green Bay, what they did on Thanksgiving to the Lions, I think that was the most surprising thing for all of us on Thanksgiving that day. The reason why there's a lot going on over here, because the power cut off, right? There's firefighters outside. That's why I've been looking off camera. I've been looking at my cameras outside, and then I got my car just pulled up. So now my dog's like, who's that outside? A lot going on over here, guys. But I tell you what, I'm excited about this game because it's Monday Night Football. The Giants have not done well on Monday Night Football, but I think they have a new sense
TV.
of right.
National
they have
TV.
Right, they have a new sense of a competition. I think they have a new sense of accountability right now for this team. And then, like you said, it comes to realization, like, hey, I'm on a contract year. Like, I gotta finish the season strong. I gotta play well, selfishly for myself, not just for the team, but for my well-being and my longevity in this league.
Put it on tape.
I think you're going to have some good football being played. I hope so, because it's been some snoozers.
Rough games.
Snoozers. Giants has been on the wrong side of a lot of beatdowns on these primetime late night games, and we're all going to be up. Me and Randy will be there. Randy knows it's no traffic when I leave, but man, that ride home is real long when you lose, man. It's real long. It's colder. You know, it always starts to rain for some reason on the way home after you lose. You know, so I'm just hoping for a win. So we got good weather. The drive home is fast. You know what I mean? Like, it all happens that way.
I said to
For
my
sure.
wife, I said, I don't know, maybe it's because it's a tough season this year. It just seems like the football season hasn't ended yet. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe it's also because I'm knee deep in coaching basketball, but like, it just feels like football hasn't ended yet. Hey guys, let's jump into our trivia question of the week. I know this is everyone's favorite part of the show. I know Ryan's looking forward to it. I know that JC is looking forward to this question too. So this week's question, before we since we are playing the Packers, it's a Giants-Packers type of question. Before we do, but JC has to tell us where the food truck is this week.
We're still in Jersey City?
No, we're done for Jersey for now because it's cold and very slow. We're down in Florida. I'm not sure of a permanent location quite yet. We're just doing events right now. We're back in Florida. The chef went back to Florida. It's cold up here, you know, and nobody outside trying to order no food outside. But we knew that was coming. So next year we're anticipating come back in the spring, possibly Jersey City, possibly Hackensack. Where, you know, now we got the lay of the land. Now we understand how Jersey works. Jersey got so much red tape in everything. You know, it's like so much stuff you can't do. You got to have this there, that there, and it's just, you know, we had to figure that out. So I'm excited about it. Food Expressions. Check us out on Instagram. And yeah, I'm ready for some trivia, baby.
Well, before we do that, do you know where that food truck would be perfect at?
My front yard.
Besides Ryan's front yard, the Giants training camp when they have the fans there.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah. We did the family day this past year. So next year I'm gonna see if we can get them for fan appreciation day or whatever. No, just when the fans are out there, right?
Yep, for sure.
All right,
here's trivia.
Here's this week's trivia question. Who was the Giants' leading receiver in the division round win over the Green Bay Packers in the 2011 playoffs? Is it A, Victor Cruz, B, Hakeem Nicks, C, Mario Manningham, or D, Jake Ballard? The choices again: A, Victor Cruz, B, Hakeem Nicks, C, Mario Manningham, or D, Jake Ballard.
I have my answer.
All right. Who wants to go first? Oh, who wants to go first? I'll go. Let's go Ryan first. Go ahead.
I'm going to say C, Mario Manningham.
Okay.
Jason.
I'm sure that was
I'm going with Hakeem Nicks for this one.
Well, the circle does get the square for JC. Got the right answer. It is Hakeem Nicks, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done. I think we're even now.
Yeah. We are now tied, ladies and gentlemen.
That's great.
So, good question again this week. Next week, it's gonna be, I have to dig for a good Saints question, which maybe JC might know some answers to. I don't know.
He might have the edge there.
Maybe.
Yeah. Guys, great show this week. Appreciate it. I know busy schedules were killing us, mostly me. I apologize. But guys, Big Blue Report this Monday. JC, what time's coverage start?
6:15, I believe. 6 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock kickoff. 6, something like that. I don't know. I'm just gonna be there.
He'll be wherever they tell him to be. Right?
And I got my fingers crossed. It's a win. It's lose, win. I don't know. But if it rains and it's cold, we're going upstairs. We're not going to be outside. So that's the only thing. And if it's not raining and it's just really cold, we'll be outside. So I don't know if it's a win-win, lose-lose situation.
Yeah,
lose-lose because if we're outside and it's cold, that's not good. And if we go upstairs and there's no fan interaction there, that's not good too. So it's a lose-lose situation for me this weekend.
Well, hopefully the Giants won't be losing.
Right. Gotta make that ride home a lot smoother, you know?
So check out JC Lance Meadow, 6:15 on WFAN, and then you're doing the post with you, Lance, and who else is with you for post?
It's me, John Schmel, Portatino, and I mean Papa comes, Carl Banks, Howard Cross jumps on.
Nice.
So we got the whole plethora of the broadcast team there.
Awesome. Well, we'll check out JC on the broadcast. JC, I will see you on Monday. Ryan, I will see you later today. And guess what, boys? This was it. We appreciate everyone. Check out the Big Blue Report. Follow it on backsportspage.com and all your podcast and social media platforms. We'll see you guys next week.